We'll see that the meeting is being live streamed. So I think we're on our way. So welcome everybody to week 6 of EDUC 5000 Foundations of Instructional Design. We've got Carol that is leading the way this week. And so I will let her take it away.
All righty. Try to get the right screen here, hopefully.
We do see slides.
That. See right here. This is always a tricky thing, right? Getting stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
So you can present. Okay, here we go. All right, so welcome to week 6 already. We're all kind of just like, how in the world did we already get to week 6? But here we are. Oh shoot, it's off the screen. Well, here's what it says in the quote that's off the screen. Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, I'll try again tomorrow. And I liked this because I've been in a lot of teacher classrooms the last couple of weeks. We just passed midterms here in our district, and we had parent-teacher conferences in most of our schools, not all. And then we had a couple of test-to-stay incidences with the lovely illnesses going around. And even with all of that, these classrooms that I was in, these teachers are there for their students, and they're just giving their all. They're just trying again the next day, even though there's been all of this going on. So I just wanted to say kudos to all of you. And if you are in that, oh my gosh, I'm behind, life has gotten in the way, but I've let my instructor know, okay, that's awesome. Just keep letting us know, and then try again tomorrow. And just get caught up. And thank you for all that you are doing for your students. You are all amazing and courageous, and just kudos to all of you.
Yeah, thank you guys enough every time.
Okay, so this quote is at the beginning of our reading this week, and I love it, from Albert Einstein. And it talks about performance, and that's what we want to urge kids to, right? So this whole week is all about the evidence that we gather from students of their learning. That can come in lots of forms: formative or summative, formal, informal, standardized, personalized. I mean, all the different ways. Whichever form it takes, you want to make sure that you're matching it to the learning that you want to have happen, so that it is all aligned. So that's what's really important for both establishing student learning and long-term understanding of student achievement in your classroom. And that's what the chapter is all about: ensuring that your evidence matches your desired results in the learning. So you want to make sure that you're providing that specific evidence that gets at that learning and supports it at all levels. So I really liked that, and I really like this part. And so this is chapter 7 out of Understanding by Design, and it's all about thinking like an assessor, which I thought was a very interesting way of going about it, but a really good way, because sometimes as a teacher, we almost get in our own way, right? And so we have to kind of think in different ways and plan in different ways. And the more we can practice that type of planning, the better we are at honing our craft, right? It's both an art and a science to teach. And so this is kind of that science part of it, right? That we want to think in a certain way so that our planning comes in a certain way. So I really liked this particular graphic that's in the book. So I recreated it here, but it's really, really wordy, and I didn't put all the words on the slide. I just chose a few. But what I liked about this was the logic of backwards design, and why it is that this science, right, of backwards design actually works. So last week we worked on stage 1. What were our desired things that we wanted for our learners to do? looking at the standards, what we want them to understand, what we want them to question and know and be able to do. And this week, it's going to be stage 2, that evidence that we need to see what our students are doing and how do we get at that evidence? What do we do to have them show their learning in multiple ways and have multiple opportunities to do that learning? So I just recreated it here just because I really liked this part in the chapter. And so hopefully as you go through the chapter this week, that you will also look at that and really kind of plan that out and really study out what it is that you're doing as part of your unit plan so that it really does match up and align, and that you're getting those multiple opportunities for your students to give you evidence of their learning. Okay. The discussion this week is how do you ensure that your evidences match the desired results, both in content and in rigor? So that's kind of a big and loaded question, right? There's a lot to that question. So I'm hoping that you also will think about that. And when you do your discussion this week, really focus on answering the full question. And just as a reminder, each week you do the reading and then you have this discussion where you talk with each other. And please remember, it is worth 3 points. So you post your reflection and then you post at least 2 replies to other people in the class. And so that's what we're watching for you to do. You can post more than that if you want to, but just remember to, when you do those posts, what that criteria is and how we grade you on that. Okay, any thoughts on this question right now that maybe could get you start thinking about this discussion, and hopefully help you to give a great answer this week in your discussion? Anybody brave enough to come off mute and give their thoughts initially on this question?
I'll make a comment regarding that. I teach 2nd grade, and with my kiddos, we'll do rotations with other teachers. And so I'll teach a science lesson 3 or 4 times. And usually by the 3rd or 4th time I teach it, I get it right. Because the first time I teach it, it's like, boy, that did not work out how I wanted it to work out. And it's just kind of a trial and error, the 1st or 2nd lesson. But by the 3rd or 4th rotation of the classroom, then yes, I can see the evidence matching the desired result of what I wanted to do. So sometimes this is trial and error.
I'll chime in. I also find that each class is different. What works for one class doesn't always work for another class. I teach 7th grade, 7th and 8th grade, but 7th grade mostly. And learners in each class are different. And so what I find content-wise and rigor-wise works 2nd period, 8th period fails miserably. And so I am constantly having to adjust and to tweak it to match the learners in each period.
Going off what was said earlier, I always felt bad for my 1st period students because the lesson that they got was very different than 4th period. Just for those same reasons that it just, you see where the pitfalls are and you're able to compensate. I also have often thought, I have to teach something at least 3 years, like a course. So by the time the 3rd year comes around, I've worked out all the kinks and the bugs, and then it's smooth. And that's usually when they change what I'm teaching.
It's so true, Derek. And I think too, this is where the art of our craft comes in, right? We have the science part where we plan things, we learn about theory, we learn about research, we put that into practice. But the art side of it is knowing, okay, I feel bad for 1st period. So once I kind of get to know my students, maybe I'll do better for 1st period as I get to know them and get to know how things work so that when they're my 1st shot every day, I can do better at my 1st shot every day, right? and just the art of knowing, okay, the difference between first period and eighth period is going to be very different, or the morning time versus the afternoon time for first graders, right? So all those things, that is where the art comes into our practice, and how we can continue to improve and do better and do our best, right? And trial and error, yes, absolutely, every day, all the time. Thank you so much for being brave and sharing all of your thoughts. They were excellent. Is there anything from the chat that I've missed? Okay.
Nothing important.
Awesome. We will continue on. Oh, I just wanted to note, I think this came from last year, the year before, but Tony shared this resource that I've linked here on the bottom of this slide. So if you need a little bit more help in answering the question this week for the discussion, you could also take a look at this particular PDF that talks about aligning standards and instruction, if that's helpful. It's just a supplementary extra thing if you needed a little bit more help on the discussion this week. Okay. The assignment this week is the part in the template that has you fill out the other evidences and things that you want to collect as the student learning. And it has you go through this acronym GRASPS, because we don't have enough, right? Alphabet soup in education. But this particular acronym, they want you to go through and fill out what is the goal, what is the role, what is the audience, the situation, the product performance and purpose, and then the standards and criteria for success. And then any other evidence that you're going to do, quizzes, tests, prompts, observations, dialogues, work samples, etc. And then doing student self-assessment and reflection. So as part of the template, this is the piece that you're going to fill out on the template based on what you did last week. This is now, okay, now that you said what they're going to do, how is it that you're going to collect that evidence of learning? So I just wanted to kind of show this so that you understood when you got to the template what that means and what that looks like. Don't forget to do those pieces where it's the other evidence, self-assessment and reflection, because the GRASPS, the acronym is kind of big, and then just underneath on the template are these little pieces. Don't forget them. Okay, and I've linked here on this page the link again back to the template, but you probably already have the template saved somewhere because you've been working on it already. So don't get confused and go back to the template and go, oh, it's blank. I did all this work last week. Go back to yours that you've already done the work in. But they are linked here just in case you haven't done those, then you can go back and do those. There's also a performance task blueprint that you'll be working on. And it's these questions that you can see here, the picture of it. And so you'll also go through and fill in those answers to those questions for that performance task blueprint. Okay, questions on the assignment?
It's kind of meaty this week.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot to kind of fill out as far as, putting things into the template and thinking through what it is you're going to do. So, okay, if you do have questions, please reach out to your instructors. We are happy to help in any way, shape, or form that we can help. And we're usually pretty good at getting back to you by the next day, at least, if we haven't in the same day that you've contacted us. Okay. That's pretty much all I have for this week. I don't know if you're happy. Like, I wasn't sure about this meme. Is it hallelujah, week 6 is here? Oh my gosh, week 6 is here.
It's all downhill from here, friends. It's all no, it's not.
Who knows? I don't know.
Time flies too fast.
Yeah, you can see it either way, I
Crazy.
think. So,
It is crazy.
all right. If there's nothing else, then we will see you back here next Thursday, 4 p.m. for our next seminar, and just keep on going. Keep trying again tomorrow. You guys are doing awesome.
We
Who's
appreciate
leading
it.
us next week?
Clint is next.
Clint, wonderful, Clint. You'll have all the snow shoveled out of your backyard by then, right?
Yeah, yeah. This was my house on Tuesday. It's
Hey,
crazy.
we live in a desert. We've got to take it however
yeah.
we can get it.
Oh yeah, I'm
Yep.
not complaining. How was
Thanks.
lunch, Brandon? You make it up there?
It was cold.